Chapter 10, East Coast versus West Coast. Months had gone by, and DJ Quick and I alone had recorded at least 16 songs. We shot my first video for Love, a remake of the Leroy Hudson joint. When they asked who I wanted my leading lady to be, I told them Tatiana Ali. There was no bigger actress than her at the time. I wanted to see how much power I had, and what do you know? I got Tatiana Ali, one of the stars of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. Tatiana was incredible. She was sweet, modest, and sexy as hell. We were around the same age, so I quickly seized the opportunity to flirt with her during the shoot. Days after my video shoots with Tatiana Ali, Suge called and told me that we were going to the Source Awards. We were listening to oldies on a private jet when Suge said to me, "Every song you know, you can have this." He was waving a stack of $100 bills at me. It was something he did every time we rode in a car or plane, so I was ready. I had been at home practicing every oldie I could think of. Suge didn't know that my dad had raised me and my siblings up in the Continental Lounge on Fifth Avenue and Trip in Chicago. My daddy always made sure I had quarters for the jukebox. By the time we arrived at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel in New York, I had made about $4,000 playing Suge's game. At the hotel, I checked into one of the flyest rooms they had. There were on-demand options years ahead of cable. Suge had the biggest suite in the hotel. His had 4 bedrooms and a huge great room. I mean, it was huge. He ordered hundreds of dollars in food and let us order anything we wanted. By that night, my godbrother Obi had come in town. We took a quick meeting and headed to a local restaurant where we chilled with Suge, Russell Simmons, and some other big names. I ended up throwing up all over the table. It wasn't a great moment for me. They were heated, so Obi and I headed back to the hotel. I was in my room relaxing and watching movies when I ended up falling asleep on the floor. I am from the west side of Chicago. I was raised up sleeping on pallets on the floor at my grandmother's house, and now, blessed with the opportunity to sleep in a bed at one of the best hotels, I chose to fall asleep on the floor. That next afternoon, when I went to Suge's room, the table was covered with food, and all of the seats at the table were occupied by women. Suge introduced me to the ladies, and I went around the table hugging each and every one of them. One of the women at the table was Mary J. Blige. The other women were the baby mamas of some other artists in the industry. There was one I recognized. She was Puffy's, the CEO of Bad Boy, baby mama, Misa. I ended up chilling with them most of that day. We drank, smoked, and had a good time. At the end of the evening, all of the girls left except Misa. She stayed behind. It was funny how Suge was in the room with her for hours. Suge got a kick out of sleeping with other people's women. A large part of his war was sleeping with your girl. He would joke, "Puffy's bitch in my room." It was like a game to him. People toss around many theories about the origins of the East Coast, West Coast beef, but I know that a lot of it was about women. I was in my room chilling with my bro when Suge called and asked me to come up to his room, alone, he said. When Suge made calls like that, I never knew what to expect. I thought somebody was about to get their ass kicked, but when he opened the door, I could see Misa sitting at the foot of the bed with a sheet half wrapped around her body. Mary J was sitting on the couch. Suge said to me, "Mary wanted me to call you back up here. She came back to see you, but she didn't want her girls to know." So there I was, chilling with this superstar who had made a special effort to see me. We were in the living room of Suge's suite, talking and drinking. When room service knocked on the door, she fell to the floor like she was fighting in Iraq. I said to her, "You good? It's just room service at the door." I opened the door, and room service came in and set up our food and drinks. I wondered what the fuck was wrong with her, but then I remembered that she had a man, and it had been rumored that he had physically abused her. I thought that might be the reason for her reaction, but it was still crazy to me. I had been with Death Row for a while, and I wasn't used to people being around us and scared. That just didn't happen. No one would get past Suge's people. She would be fine as long as she was with us. After a while, we were laughing and telling jokes and just having a good time. It started getting late, so we went into my room inside of Suge's suite. She went to lay down on the bed. I sat in a chair. "Why you sitting over there?" she said to me. I was nervous as hell. I mean, I was a fan of hers. Trina was crazy about her and her music, and here I was, lying in the bed with her. When she put my arms around her, the talking and laughing shit was all over. Before I knew it, she backed up against me. I was trying everything in my power for her not to feel how hard my dick was. That didn't work. She backed up into me every time I moved away. Before I knew it, we were kissing. I took her clothes off and kissed her neck. I tasted her body. It tasted better than I imagined. You haven't tasted anything until you've tasted Mary J. I got on top of her, and she wrapped her legs around me. I could tell by the moans and the screams that I was pleasing her. It didn't matter to me that I didn't have a condom on, because I wanted to make a baby with her and take it back to the hood. When we were done, we fell asleep, woke up, and did it again. I wish I had had a camera phone back then. I think I would have been on some bullshit. I'm just kidding, but I have to say, I was charged up. After that encounter, I would never be able to listen to her music in Trina's presence. I waited like a gentleman to make sure she was gone, but as soon as she left, I ran straight downstairs to my room, where Obi was sleeping. I opened the door and jumped up and down on the bed like an 8-year-old kid. When Obi woke up and started wiping his eyes, I was like, "Nigga, guess who I just hit?" I put my hand in his face so he could smell. He He pushed my hand away, but when I said whose smell it was, he wanted to smell it again. All that was on my mind was how I wished I could call and tell everybody I knew. When she left, I thought it was just going to be a one-night thing, but she left her number on the nightstand. At least I had a chance, I thought. She had my young ass flying back to NY over and over again. Now that I'm grown, I wish I could do it one more time. Later that day, Suge took us to the mall so we could get ready for the Source Awards. We were tearing the mall down. At this time, Death Row was into it hard with Bad Boy. Every artist that was involved with Death Row was there. With Snoop on the ticket to perform, Suge had 2 rows reserved for his artists and all of our people. When we arrived to the arena where the awards were being held, we mobbed in about 100 deep. When the time came for Death Row to receive the award, Suge told me to come up. I felt like I was outside of my body. I was loose as hell as I walked up to the steps. Before shaking things up, Suge got on the mic and gave his thanks and shit. After that, he made that infamous statement, "Any artist that wanna be an artist and wanna stay a star and don't wanna have to worry about the executive producer being all in the videos, all on the record, dancing, come to Death Row." He ended that statement like the boss he was. All the Death Row artists started clapping, laughing, and standing up. I was yelling West Side while Suge was talking. I was throwing up mob on one hand and 4 on the other hand. The audience was booing us like a motherfucker. When Snoop and Dre came on stage, Snoop was yelling, "The East Coast ain't got no love for Snoop and Dre." He said that shit with so much aggression, but we were in NY. They were going to stand by the East Coast. People in the crowd just kept booing, but the show went on. When Faith and Puffy got on stage, Puffy was on his game. He knew how to make himself look good in the media. He congratulated Snoop, Dre, and Death Row and said that the East Coast West Coast thing needed to stop. Later that night, Suge and Puffy ran into each other at the club. Like always, Suge was talking shit. He'd always grab the other person's shoulder when he talked. I knew him, and I knew that things were about to go south. I quickly jumped in front of Suge and pushed Puffy. I was like, "Get off my daddy." Suge knew I had heart and had his back, and Puff's security couldn't do nothing because we had the whole VIP surrounded. After all that commotion, we ended up going downstairs